Okay, we're going to take a look at compound interest and depreciation. So what compound interest is if you put money into an investment or into a bank account. Let's say, for instance, if January of this year I put in €100 into a bank account, and that they're giving me 10% interest for having my money in there for a year. So compound interest would mean that by this time next year, I would have my €100 still in there, and then my €10 of my 10% interest. So that next January, then the interest that the money they will be getting the interest of would be not just the €100, but the €110. So basically, it's adding on the interest each time, and then getting the interest of the new amount each year. So depreciation, then, what we're talking about there is decreasing in value over time. So for instance, if you owned a car, is generally one that they'll talk about in a question. If you had a car and you have it for 5 or 6 years, then that car decreases in value every year by a certain percentage. So the first thing we're going to take a look at then is the formula that we're going to use. This is the formula here. F equals P by 1 plus I to the power of T. Now that formula is on page 30 of the log tables. And I'm just going through the formula. This does everything for us. F is the value then, so the different letters that are here, F is the value for the final amount, the money that you get after having your money in an investment for so many years. P is the present value. It's the amount of money that you are putting into the account or into the investment at the start. I is the interest as a decimal, and be careful of that. That just means that we're going to have to write it as a decimal when we're going to be giving it as a percentage. And T is the time, and it's in years. So again, something to be careful of there. Make sure your time is in years. So if we go to our first question then, and we look at this question here. It says that find the value of €1,000 put into a bank account for 5 years and an APR of 5%. So what we have to be careful of here is what values that we've been given. So we'll write out our formula. F equals P by 1 plus I to the power of T. So F is the final amount, the money I have at the end. P is the present value, the money that I'm going to put into the account. I is the interest, and then T is the time. So if we look at this, I'm looking to find the value of €1,000 put into a bank account for 5 years at an APR. So looking for the €1,000 was what was put in, so that's my P value. My time is the years, that's 5 years, and that's in terms of years, so that's fine. APR, what that represents is annual percentage rate. So annual means that it's year, and then percentage rate. So annual percentage rate, that's just what the interest is for the year. Now, we know that it can't be as a percentage, so what you will do is write 5% as a decimal. That's 0.05. If you're not sure, what you do is take your percentage, put it over 100, check what that is in the calculator using your SD button as a decimal, and that's the value that you're going to use for this. So when I go to substitute into this, F is the one I don't know, that's what I'm looking for, how much this gives me after these 5 years. I have my interest of 1 is always there, plus interest of 0.05, and my time is going to be 5. I put the whole thing into the calculator, and I get in euro €1,276.28. So I always round to 2 decimal places for these kind of questions because we're talking about money. So next question then we'll take a look at. They don't always have to give you those specific values. They don't always give you the P, the I, and the T. Sometimes they might give you different values. So what you have to do is figure out what values you have, sub into the formula, and then use your algebra to isolate the unknown value. So if we look at this second question, that's exactly what we're going to have to do here. Here it says, find the money put into a bank account at an APR, we've already seen that, annual percentage rate of 3.5%, given that you received this amount of money after 10 years. So if I go to write out all of these different things, this is my interest, my 3.5%. I have to write that as a decimal, and it's 0.035. Again, you can check 3.5 over 100, press the SD button, it'll tell you the same thing. It's saying find the money you put into the bank account given that you receive. So that's going to be the money that I get at the end. So that's my final amount of 2115.90. And then my time is 10, and that's in years, so that's fine. So again, I'm going to write out my formula. Okay, and I'm going to fill it in. So 2115.90 is equal to, this is the one I don't know, 1 always remains the same. My interest is 0.035 to the power of 10. And now I know I need to isolate this p-value on its own. So to do that, what I'm going to do is anything that's on that right hand side of the equals I don't want. So because they are multiplying, I know then that if I divide by this 1 plus 0.035 to the power of 10, I know that they will cancel out. But because I've done that on the right hand side, I must also do the same to the left hand side. Okay, so now I end up with P equals, I put this whole thing here into the calculator. And when I put that in the calculator, I end up with a value of 1500 euro. Okay, and again, it's been rounded to 2 decimal places. Okay, so the other thing that they might be able to do here is they might give you different values. They might not tell you your interest, for instance. So same rules apply. You're going to just try and isolate the I value. They won't ever not tell you what T is, because that's for leave insert only. So just be aware, substitute everything into the values that you can, or into the formula that you can, and solve for the unknown.